I'm Felicia,
And I'm Ian.
and we are the Paranormal Lovers.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, dudays. Welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Lovers.
Hey guys.
Hey guys,
Thanks for joining us for another episode, number 154.
154.
154. Two more after this, and we'll start season 4.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's been a long, strange trip. It's been.
We're back with another cult this week, but first, what did you love about this week?
Like going to Pride.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Pride's always a good time.
Got to meet a bunch of cool people. Yeah,
For sure.
Talk to a lot of people, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like about this week?
I also loved going to Pride and the fact that our daughter had a cheer camp all week. So I got a little bit of a break. And then we got to watch her go do a little showcase, which was really cute. And she was the best, but don't tell any of the other moms I said that.
She had the loudest voice.
She definitely had the loudest voice.
Yeah.
She definitely does. All right. So if you were born in the 1900s, you will probably know this case. Younger people may know this case as well, but some of us are old enough to remember seeing the Siege of Waco on TV.
Waco.
Do you remember the Siege of Waco?
Yep.
You have like memories of watching the news? I do too. And I don't think my mother wanted me watching it because I was only like 7, but I watched it.
Right. I remember that picture where it's all burning.
That flashes in mind too. But before the events of April 1993, a new religious sect was created. The Branch Davidians were started as just the Davidians by Victor Hotef, who was an immigrant from Bulgaria. Victor was also a Sabbath school teacher for the Seventh Day Adventist in Southern California. Victor wrote a book called The Shepherd's Rod, the 144,000, a call for reformation, that he gave to the church leadership. He claimed his book was a message for the church, but leadership was not interested. Victor and his followers were defellowshipped. It was in 1934 that Victor set up shop in Waco, Texas, and named his group the Davidians. This name was taken from the belief in the Davidic kingdom of Israel, or the belief that there was a line of descendants from King David. In 1942, he renamed the group the General Association of Davidian Seventh Day Adventist. Victor died in 1955, and his wife Florence took over leadership of the group. Florence was convinced that an apocalypse was coming in 1959, claiming to be a prophet. She and her council gathered hundreds of their followers at the Mount Carmel Center to wait out the fulfillment of the prophecy.
Carmel.
Disappointed that nothing happened, Benjamin Roden started his own group known as the Branch Davidians and took control of Mount Carmel. Benjamin died in 1978, and his wife Louise Roden took over control of the group. This caused a rift in the group, with some people supporting Louise and other people supporting her and Benjamin's son George. George would get his turn to rule after Louise died, but it would not last for long as Vernon Howell came onto the scene and took power from the Roden family. Vernon Wayne Howell was born on August 17th, 1959, in Houston, Texas. His parents were 20-year-old Bobby Wayne Howell and 14-year-old Bonnie Sue Clark.
Jeez.
He would be a dead 20-year-old Bobby Wayne Howell.
Yep.
The two split when Vernon was only 2, and Bonnie had a short and violent marriage to Joe Golden. Bonnie was not able to care for Vernon any longer, so she gave him to her mother and older sister. Bonnie's mother pretended to be Vernon's mother, and Bonnie would pretend to be his aunt whenever she visited. However, in 1964, Bonnie married Roy Winfield Halderman, who was a merchant marine and finally felt stable enough to care for her child. Vernon was told at the age of 5 the truth about who his mother was, something he carried with him for the rest of his life. Around this time, Vernon claimed he also began being abused by a male relative. In July of 1965, right before he turned 6, David got a half brother, Roger Winfield Halderman. A few weeks later, the family moved to Richardson, Texas. Vernon and his stepfather had issues, but he and his brother got along well. Vernon would later claim he had a lonely childhood. He had dyslexia and was not a good studier, so he was placed in special ed classes, which caused him to be bullied by other kids. And that's one thing I like about our daughter's school is they don't separate the special kids from the class. You're all together. So you got to learn to deal with people who are differently abled.
Right.
Things would get easier as he went into his teenage years and became interested in playing sports. He was good at it and was able to work on his body, but even with things getting better, Vernon dropped out of high school in his junior year. He then bounced around different jobs but was either fired or just quit showing up. When Vernon was 19, he had a relationship with a 16-year-old who ended up pregnant. He never saw his daughter as her mother did not feel Vernon would be a good father, so she moved away and refused to see him. After this, Vernon claimed to be a born-again Christian and would end up joining his mother's denomination, the Seventh Day Adventist. At 20 years old, David began to have an illegal relationship with the pastor's 15-year-old daughter. One day, while praying, Vernon claims he looked up to find the Bible open to Isaiah 34:16, quote, "No one shall want for her mate," end quote. Vernon saw this as a sign from God and went to the girl's father to ask for his permission to marry her. The pastor, of course, refused and forbade Vernon from seeing his daughter again, which Vernon, of course, ignored. The pastor was furious, and the congregation was disgusted by his obsession with sex, so Vernon was expelled from the church. Vernon was a creepy man, but so is the name Vernon. Vernon Howell arrived at Mount Carmel in 1981. At first, he was well liked. He would even carry on an affair with Lois, despite their 40-year age difference. Vernon believed Lois was the chosen one and wanted to have a baby with her, even though she was 60.
God. All right.
Sir. But Lois died, and George took control of the group, leading to a power struggle between the two men, with Vernon gaining most of the followers. He and his followers would leave Mount Carmel after George accused him of starting a fire that destroyed an administrative building. Trying to gain his followers back from Vernon, George challenged him to a competition to see who could raise the dead. Even though he denied it, George went so far as digging up a 20-year-old corpse. Vernon tried to use this to get charges filed against George for desecrating a corpse, but he was told he had to have evidence. You gotta have evidence. Howell and a few of his followers raided Mount Carmel on November 3rd, 1987. They were armed with rifles, shotguns, and 400 rounds of ammunition. They alleged they were there to get evidence of Rodin's crimes, but they had nothing with them to prove that. Like, they didn't bring a camera or nothing to take pictures of said dead body.
Right.
Koresh and his followers were charged with attempted murder, with his followers being found not guilty and Koresh's case ending in a mistrial. Because Rodin was, shot severely. I don't think he died, but he almost died.
Mm.
Once Vernon became the spiritual leader, he changed his name to... Do you know what his name is?
Vernon Supreme.
Do not insult our Lord and Savior Vernon Supreme like that, okay? No,
I was just guessing.
You don't know the name tied to Waco?
No.
David Koresh.
Gotcha.
What was that one dude's? Oh, that's Kokesh. That's kind of similar.
Adam Koresh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah.
Your name sounds like David Koresh.
Yeah, it took me a second. David, because he claimed ties to the biblical King David, and Koresh, which was the Hebrew version of the name Cyrus, as in Cyrus the Great, whom Vernon also claimed to be tied to.
Mm,
Koresh was determined to create a new line of world leaders, which would lead to allegations of child abuse. Those allegations would be the basis of the raid on the compound to come. In 1989, Rodin murdered a man by axe blow to the back of the head.
Jesus.
He claimed the man had been sent by Koresh to kill him. He was judged insane and sent to a mental hospital in Big Springs, Texas. Rodin had not been paying the taxes on Mount Carmel, so Koresh was able to raise the money and reclaim the property. When he and his followers moved back to the center, they found a meth lab that had been left from some renters of Rodin's, and he called the cops and asked for it to be removed.
Oh,
Excuse me, can you guys please remove this meth lab from my property?
what the
Thanks.
hell?
In 1992, the Texas Child Protection Services conducted a 6-month investigation into child abuse allegations. They found no evidence, in part due to the fact that the Branch Davidians possibly concealed his quote unquote marriage to a 12-year-old.
Jeez.
This man's like 25 or some shit.
Right.
There were also allegations of physical abuse, such as one claimed that Koresh beat his own son severely for simply crying, but they found no evidence of that either. There had been a lot of debates about the validity of these claims. The bureau that did the raid is not one that handles cases of child abuse. Well, I guess I should say the bureau that started the raid is not one that handles cases of child abuse, and it is believed by some that these allegations have been conflated to justify what came next. The bureau was the ATF, or Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms, and Tobacco, which is now that and explosives. And on February 28th, 1993, at 4:20 a.m., you know what they could have been doing at 4:20 a.m.?
Smoking weed.
Smoking weed. But no, instead they attempted to raid the compound. However, they had already, unbeknownst to them, lost the element of surprise after a local reporter who had been tipped off asked for directions to the compound from the mail carrier, who just happened to be David Koresh's brother-in-law.
Mm,
So when they got there, a gunfight ensued for 2 hours until the ATF ran out of ammo. 4 ATF agents were killed, 16 wounded, and 5 of the Branch Davidians were dead as well.
damn.
6 hours after the firefight stopped, Michael Schroeder was shot and killed by agents as he was returning to the compound. Agents claimed he had pointed a gun at them, but his wife alleges that he was simply coming home from work and had taken no part in the earlier altercation. After the failure of the initial raid and death of agents, the FBI took control and made contact with Koresh and his followers. In the beginning, things seemed to be going well with the negotiations. At first, Koresh agreed to leave the compound if the authorities would agree to broadcast a message he had recorded. But even after the broadcast was made, Koresh refused to leave, stating God told him to stay and wait. Soon after, however, Koresh did allow for 19 children from 5 months to 12 years old to be released. They were then interviewed, some for hours at a time. According to the FBI and Texas Rangers, sorry, I grew up watching Walker. What can I say?
Jared Padalecki.
I can't get into that one. I don't know. It's not Chuck Norris, so it's
Yeah.
like I love you, Sam Winchester, but
Chuck's got some big
Chuck
shoes to fill.
Norris. Yeah.
Ain't nobody can wear his boots.
But according to the FBI and Texas Rangers, the children claimed they had been subjected to physical and sexual abuse from the cult. This would be the main justification for the use of CS gas on the compound. They use some really nasty tear gas.
Right.
The FBI sent a video camera to the Davidians. In the video, Koresh introduces his children and his quote unquote wives, many of whom were visibly minors, and not like the hi ho, it's off to work we go minors, but like women who are under the age of 18,
Right.
or girls, I should say.
Yeah.
Several other Branch Davidians also spoke on the video, and Koresh himself left a message. When it was reviewed, there was concern that releasing the video would gain sympathy for Koresh and his followers. As time went on, Koresh would negotiate for more time so he could finish his writings. So I didn't go in a lot into his ideology in here,
Mhm.
but he did he believed that he was the Lamb of God that would come before Jesus Christ, but he also believed that he was sent here to something about interpret the 7 seals that would happen that would lead to the second coming of Jesus Christ. So he's trying to write down his interpretation of the seals, the 7 seals,
Alright.
which I'm guessing is the thing that keeps hell from opening up, because Supernatural did a whole storyline about it, but yeah.
I think Diablo touched on that story too.
Yeah, I kind of feel, was it 3?
They talk about the seals in 4,
Oh, okay.
or maybe all of them.
Mm, maybe.
Maybe all of them,
In early March, the FBI began to consult Bible scholars Philip Arnold and James Tobar. They were brought in to study transcripts of Koresh's radio broadcasts to try and understand his ideology. That same week, the two men were guests on talk radio in Dallas, which Koresh listened to. He then reached out to the FBI to ask to speak to Arnold directly, but his request was denied. As the siege continued, the FBI began to split into two camps, one that believed negotiations were the way to go, and another that wanted to use force. They began to, okay, they literally used torture tactics on these people. They would blare music and random noises like rabbits being slaughtered at the compound all day and night long.
but didn't they have a Metallica and like Rage Against the
Yeah,
Machine playing?
yeah. They just blared music at these poor people, but the thing that got it was also like the sound of gunfire, but it literally said in the notes, the sound of rabbits being slaughtered.
Right.
Because if you ever heard a rabbit scream,
Yeah. It's horrible.
this is literally a torture tactic. 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 This is literally a torture tactic, sleep deprivation.
Right.
Then they brought in armored vehicles, 9 M3 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, and 5 M728 combat engineer vehicles, which began to patrol outside of the compound. They were used to destroy fencing, buildings, and cars. They also repeatedly drove over graves despite protests from the Davidians and the negotiators. The negotiators were like, could we not? Could we
Right.
not? And they're just like, motherfucker. The initial attack had damaged 2 of the 3 water tanks on the roof of the main building, and before long, all water and power was cut to the compound, forcing them to survive off of rainwater and MRE rations.
Mhm.
Koresh ordered another group to leave the compound. This time, 11 people were released and subsequently arrested as material witnesses. Negotiators were disturbed at the willingness of the children to stay with Koresh. The children knew that the kids who had left earlier had been separated from their adults, and those adults had been arrested. They're not stupid. And here's the thing. So it kept saying in the notes that like the FBI was looking at this situation as a hostage situation. They kept feeling that Koresh was forcing these people to stay here, and what they didn't understand that these people were following a ideology, and they were not being forced to stay there. They were staying there because they believed in what David Koresh was saying.
Right.
Um, Several scholars reached out to the FBI during the siege to give their advice on how to deal with Koresh and his followers. They explained that using aggressive tactics would only solidify their beliefs and would be more likely to lead to a deadly outcome. Koresh, Koresh,
Koresh.
Koresh became more unhinged as time went on. He claimed that he was the second coming of Christ and that God, a mouse getting them,
Yeah.
and that God had ordered him to stay in the compound. For 8 days from April 5th to the 13th, Koresh refused to speak to negotiators, citing observance of the Passover. The FBI became concerned that a mass suicide would take place as it had in Jonestown. However, Koresh stated several times that was not his plan, and those who were released had not seen any indication of such. On April 14th, a letter from Koresh was delivered to the FBI that reads as follows, quote, I want the people of this generation to be saved. I am working night and day to complete my final work of writing out of these seals. I thank my Father. He has finally granted me the chance to do this. It will bring new light and hope to many, and they will not have to deal with me, the person. I will demand the first manuscripts of the seals be given to you. Many scholars and religious leaders will wish to have copies for examination. I will keep a copy with me. As soon as I see that people like Jim Tabar and Phil Arnold have a copy, I will come out and then you can do your thing with this beast. End quote. This letter split the FBI again, with some seeing it as a breakthrough, while others believed it was a ploy for time by Koresh so that he could prepare for a violent attack. The end came in the terrible way on April 19th, 1993. The FBI led one final siege of the compound using large caliber ammo and armored combat engineering vehicles. They pumped tear gas into the compound to try and flush the followers out. They claimed they cranked up the gas when the followers began to fire at agents. Around noon, 3 fires broke out in different parts of the building. The government still to this day claims the fires were started by the Davidians, while many of the survivors claimed it was set on purpose during the assault. Of the 85 Davidians in the compound when the final siege began, 96 died on April 19th, with between 20 and 30 of those being children.
Jeez.
And people wonder why people like Timothy McVeigh exist.
Right.
In the aftermath of the siege, a federal grand jury indicted 12 of the survivors. 4 were acquitted of all charges, 8 were found guilty of firearm charges, and 5 of them were also convicted of voluntary manslaughter. By July of 2007, all Branch Davidians had been released from prison. And they're still out there.
Right.
This siege and subsequent fire was largely a basis for another man we have talked about, Timothy McVeigh. He chose the date for his bombing as it was the anniversary of the fire at Waco, and he had actually been seen at the standoff for a bit. He was photographed by the FBI with other protesters. There is still an active sect with around 12 members in Texas and around 100 worldwide. Those who survived the siege created a new branch called the Branch, the Lord our Righteousness. It is now led by Charles Pace, who was not a part of the church when the siege happened. He came back a year later and took over control of the sect. And they actually built a church on the grounds of the original compound
Hmm.
that they meet in worship.
Wow.
And that is a look at David Koresh and the Waco tragedy.
That's
So, what do you
crazy.
think about that, Bill?
It's pretty wild. Cults, man.
Cults.
It's a cult.
Cults. This is one that's I have always heard 2 different camps on this story.
Yeah.
There was cult, crazy cult, kill him, it's fine, whatever, you know. And then there's the government fucked up on that one.
Yeah.
The government really fucked up on that one.
Sure.
And I think they did.
Yeah.
Because how for one, at 51 days, 51, it takes you 51 days to break into the compound.
Right.
And then, who do you think started the fire?
I don't know. Probably the government.
Probably. But I don't know. Like you said a minute ago, cults.
Yeah.
Cults do be crazy.
They are. I mean, they were shooting at the government too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some debate about who shot first, like Han Solo, we all know that.
Right.
But even some of the ATF agents said that their agents fired first because they were tasked with, quote unquote, subduing the Davidian dogs. So they shot the dogs,
See, that's horrible.
and that's when the Davidians shot back.
No wonder they shot back at him.
I'd shoot you too if you shoot my fucking dog.
Right.
Like, hello, you're coming into my property, you shoot my dog,
Yeah.
we gonna fight. I will John Wick your ass.
It's like one of the most horriblest things that happens nowadays, like cops killing dogs just for no fucking reason.
Because, I don't know, the next
'Cause
one,
they're scared of them.
because the next one, a fucking Labradoodle in a goddamn jersey. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You heard about that one, right?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
I did not watch it. I could not. No,
I watched the lady cry over her dog.
I saw that part, but it was
It's
very
like,
quickly.
God damn.
You know, there's reasons I don't watch certain movies because you're gonna tell me the dog dies. No, thank you.
Right.
Homeward Bound still fucks me up to this day.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Chance.
One of the worst movies of all time
Chance.
is Old Yeller.
Chance. No. Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah.
That one. How did they have us watch that movie as elementary school
Kids?
children?
I don't know, man.
And I was like,
Fucking traumatizing.
fucking traumatized.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Old Yeller was sad, but Where the Red Fern Grows, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just fucking destroy me. Why don't
Have
you?
anybody boo-hooing.
Well, I don't even want to think about it. I can't think about it. All right, guys. Well, I won't say I hope you enjoyed this episode because not much to enjoy about that.
Yeah.
But we hope you guys have a good week and we will see you guys later.
Be kind to each other.
Love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you guys. Bye.